right, I feel like the numbers are kind of leveling out. So we're over 100 folks in this webinar. So thanks so much for joining us today. We hope it's been a really good day. You've learned so many things to get the right start at Cal State Fullerton. If you're hoping to be in the presentation called How to Navigate CSUF as a Transfer Student, you're in the right spot. So thank you. Hopefully you've had, like I said, informative day. And so we're gonna get going. So we'll start off with some introductions. I can go first. My name is Dr. Connie Moreno Yamashiro. I serve as the Assistant Dean for Student Affairs in our College of Humanities and Social Sciences. And I have a few other folks here with me, so I'll give them time to also introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Brittany Swanson. I'm the Assistant Dean for Student Academic Services. So I help oversee all the advising in the college, and I support your department efforts for advising as well. And I'm happy to have you join us for the day.
Hi, everybody. My name is Shanice Watson, and I'm a political science graduate student here at Fullerton, and I work in the Student Success Center in the Humanities Building.
Perfect. So Brittany and I will be co-facilitators, and Shanice is fantastic, and we'll be adding links to the chat. So throughout our presentation, we're going to be sharing a wide variety of links. So I maybe encourage you to kind of have a Word document or just something where you can copy and paste the links that might be of interest to you, because after we're done with this session, we don't believe that it downloads the chat for you. So if you want any links, feel free to save them like in a separate document, just so you have all that really helpful information for you. And so as you can tell, we have a Q&A box and we also have a chat box. And so all questions, please direct them to the Q&A box. We will be answering them at the very end. And then we do have some interactive activities throughout our presentation, which will utilize the chat box. So chat box, more interacting with each other, Q&A, questions. So hopefully that helps. And so let's get going. All right, so as I said, we're going to do a chat activity. So we kind of want to know where you're at, what's your name, your major, the college you transferred from, just so we know who's in the audience with us today. So feel free to click on the chat and again, put your name, your major, and what college you transferred from. And don't be shy. Yay, Cody, thank you. Oh, yay, lots came in through. Awesome. Oh, yay. Oh, sorry. Yes, loving all the community colleges in the area, all the beautiful majors within HSS. I'm seeing community colleges in OC and LA County. Oh, Bakersfield College, welcome. Chafee, love it. I feel like we got a good portion of Southern California covered. I'm loving this. See a lot of similar community colleges too, which is nice. So maybe you'll know see some familiar faces. Santiago, very local. Perfect. Oh, I love this. So nice to see, because we can't see your faces. I know you see our face. So it's nice to humanize this presentation a bit. All right, so thank you so much. Feel free to just keep on having them come in, represent your community college or college you transferred from. So with that, let's go on and let's get started. So I like to kind of start with some like basic terminology, right? So you hear about university, you hear the word college being thrown around, you hear major being thrown around. So let's start with a major. So within the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, we have 23 majors. So anywhere from African American Studies, Asian American Studies, American Studies, Anthropology, English, Criminal Justice, History, Political Science, Psychology, Sociology, Geography. 23, there's a lot. I don't think I mentioned all of them, but there's a lot. So y'all are here, you're represented. I'm seeing your majors all over. Liberal studies, I didn't say that one. And so that's your major. So the most specific point of this little triangle is the major. And then right below that is a college. And so at Cal State Fullerton, we have 8 colleges. So the College of Humanities and Social Sciences is one of 8 colleges at the university. And so you may hear people say, like, what college do you belong to? They're not asking you Cal State Fullerton. They're asking you which college, which of the 8 colleges do you belong to? And again, for you and your major, they all belong to the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. And then as we extend beyond that, those 8 colleges belong to the university, and the university is Cal State Fullerton. So again, at the most specific part, that's the major, and then we go out, all those majors belong to the College of Humanities and Social Sciences, and all those 8 colleges then belong to the University of Cal State Fullerton. So again, we hear, I know it's confusing to students oftentimes, like, well, isn't my college Cal State Fullerton? Technically, it's the university, and the college is Humanities and Social Sciences. So hopefully that helps moving forward as you may hear information about your college or being part of a specific college. So with that, let's move on to the next slide, and we have a poll activity. So Assistant Dean Swanson will be pulling that up for you. So if you could just take a few moments and share any concerns you may have about transferring from your previous college to CSUF. And this will help us really tailor our presentation to you. And if you have other concerns, which I'm seeing a few folks submit some other concerns, feel free to put those in the chat because we'd love to address those other concerns that may not be captured in that poll. So I'm seeing about almost 60 of you have participated. Awesome. Numbers are quickly going up. So select those. And if you have other concerns, add those in the chat. We're at 100 people who have submitted the poll. All right, maybe we'll give like 5 more seconds and then we could end the poll. Thank you for those who have added your concerns to the chat too. Perfect. So you all should be seeing the results. And the most popular one is unsure that you're taking the right courses. So Brittany, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, fortunately, we will be talking more about the different advising resources on our campus, just to make sure you are taking the right courses, but your TDA is a great guide. So if you haven't attended our How to Graduate in 2 Years workshop that happened right before this one, I really encourage you to go back when we post these videos to watch that because it talks about your TDA. Your TDA will show you what you're enrolled in and where it's going to count towards your degree requirements. So it's a real fail-safe to know if you're in the right courses, but then later we'll talk about the advisors that you can go to ask of those questions as well.
Awesome. And then the top 2 was feeling a sense of community during this virtual time, which we'll cover today. And the third most common is not knowing who to go to for support when needed. So we'll absolutely share that. Spoiler alert, our office. So we'll share a little bit more about that. So thank you so much for engaging in our poll. That's really helpful. And if you, again, have different concerns that were not listed on this poll, feel free to add them to the chat and we'll do our best to address them today. So thanks, y'all. All right, so with that, I'll pass it over to Assistant Dean Swanson.
Thank you, Dr. Marina Yamashiro. All right, so I'm going to introduce our student success team a little bit. You may have met them in earlier presentations, or you might be attending some of their later presentations. But just know when you're on our campus, we are your support system. We are here to help get you in the right classes, so supporting you academically, as well as your future goals and your personal well-being. So we are led by Dr. Jessica Stern. She is our HSS Associate Dean for Students. And then we now have 4 advisors who you can get academic support from depending on your concerns. So Mai Warren is our graduation specialist. She works with students who've applied for graduation. So you won't be working with her just yet, but maybe within the next semester or 2, you'll start to work with her. Julianne Vartanian and Natalie Oliva are our retention specialists, and they support students who have academic concerns. So maybe you've fallen on academic probation, they will be your main advisors, or you're struggling with your classes and you just need some academic support, they're here to help you. Sean Tate is our college advisor. So he really focuses on working with our junior population. So he's a great advisor to be aware of. So if you have questions about applying for graduation, building your graduation plan, he's the one that can support you with that. Whitney Youngren is our online learning specialist. So she supports students in our online degree program, but she also helps students who are trying to transition into a virtual academic format. So if you're still struggling with that transition to a virtual format with your classes, I encourage you to attend her workshop, which I believe is next. And then following hers is JC Covers, our experiential learning specialist. So he supports students who want to go study abroad or study away or do some type of experiential learning while they're here at Fullerton. Robin Gomes is our administrative assistant. So she is still available to support students. If you have questions, you don't know who to go to, feel free to connect with Robin. She is a great resource for everybody because she can direct you either to one of the members of our success team or to different offices on campus to get you that question answered. And then we have our career specialist, Melody Lim. I hope you visited her workshop earlier today, but if you haven't, go back and watch that. She's here to support you with your career goals. Maybe you want to add a major, maybe you want to add a minor and you're not quite sure how to do that. She can help you with exploring those options as well. So I'll turn it back over to Assistant Dean Maria Mashiro.
Perfect. So I want to share a little bit about our student success team and our mission. So you saw our faces, what we do, our titles, but really the core of what we do as a team is to support and nurture our students' academic, personal, and social development. So if we go to the next slide, we kind of break that down in all the different areas that we support. And so once we're able to hopefully go back soon, sometime this year, you'll be able to enjoy our beautiful lounge. The photo that you see in front of you is actually our workshop space on the first floor of our humanities building. So it's a workshop location. But the beauty about our center is that we have 2 student success centers for HSS students. So we're a really big college. And so the beauty is that we have 2 centers. So you have a center that's really focused on advising needs and another center that's focused on everything outside of the classroom. And so whatever you need, you can get support from our space. So again, in H112 is where you're going to find your advising needs with those academic advisors. And in GH, Gordon Hall, 211B is where you're going to find all the support in getting involved, finding a sense of community, referrals to campus resources, etc. And so as Assistant Dean Swanson had mentioned, students can come to our Success Center either physically or virtually right now during this time. Just if you're confused or lost, you don't know who can help you with your question, or if you have a really serious concern, or also if you have a concern that's really personal and things that are happening in your personal life that are impacting your academics. Again, we support students in a wide variety of ways. So in addition to that, later this afternoon, JC Cover is hosting a study abroad workshop session. So you'll learn about information about study abroad through him. Through our center, we have student org information and then scholarship information. So I'm going to highlight scholarship information a little bit later on in this presentation because we know finances are tough, college can be expensive, and we want to make sure that finances are not a barrier for you at Cal State Fullerton. So let's go to the next slide and I'll pass it back to Assistant Dean Swanson.
All right, so we're going to do another poll question. How many years do you hope it will take you to graduate from CSUF? So let me get that poll up for us really quickly. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So, if you're thinking you're going to try and graduate in less than 2 years, whether it be 1 semester to 1.5 years, 2 years is, would be finishing up 2 years from this spring. And if you're going to take more than 2 years, then it'll be 3 or more. You see them trickling in. Okay. Just a little bit longer. I see these coming in quite a bit faster than the other poll. Less to read, less to select from. All right, give you just another few seconds if anyone else is trying to finish. Okay, so we've got quite a clear winner, which is 2 years. That is the average for transfer students. And I do find within our college that is quite a achievable goal. Our majors are relatively low units. You can take things mostly at the same time. So if this is your goal, you can definitely achieve it. And if you're not sure how to do so, reach out for support. Less than 2 years, I have seen that happen. So it is not something that is unknown. So good for you. And if it's going to take you 3 or more years, that's great too. Oh, sorry about that. We are here to support you on your journey, no matter how long it's going to take you. Okay, so I'll go ahead and stop sharing the results, and then we'll go ahead and kind of keep going on the academic path right now. So I'm going to talk to you about advising and our departments. So if you attended the first workshop today, you've already seen this slide, but I will go through it again just in case. So we have a different advising model at CSUF than what you're likely familiar with at your community college. We also have different jargon for how we refer to our advisors when you want to receive advising. Oh, so sorry. One second. Of course, people are calling right as I'm presenting. That is so sorry, 1 second. Turn that off. I don't know how to do that. Okay, so sorry about that. My goodness. Okay, back to advising. So we have the different jargon here. So when you were at your community college, you were likely referring to a counselor. If you wanted to go get support with your classes, support with your financial aid, support with just about anything, it might have been called a counselor. Whereas here at Cal State Fullerton, counselors, if you say, I'm looking for a counselor, you might be referred to financial aid because we have financial aid counselors, or maybe someone will say, oh, you want to go to CAPS, which is Counseling and Psychological Services. So here, if you're looking for advising support, you're going to be referring to an academic advisor. And we have different types of advisors depending on the type of advising questions you have. So if you're looking for someone to help you with your general education questions, you're going to go to the Academic Advisement Center. These are experts on your GE that can help you understand your transfer coursework as well, make sure everything is clear on your TDA. The major advisor is who you're going to visit if you have questions about your specific major requirements. Which classes should you be taking if you have different areas of interest? What does an elective look like for you? Things like that. And then the Student Success Center were kind of a catch-all for all other types of academic concerns. If you're on probation or you're getting close to graduating and you're not sure when you should be applying for graduation, that's when you'll come visit our center. Okay. As Dr. Marina Yamashiro mentioned earlier, we have a lot of majors in our college. We have 23 degree programs for undergraduates to choose from. I've listed them here. You can see that we have a lot of variety within our college, which is really great. So if you come in with a major and you're like, I didn't realize that that was a part of HSS or even CSUF as a whole, you're welcome to add that as a double major or a minor. There's so many great opportunities for you. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So if you're considering adding a double major or a minor, one of the websites you should be familiar with is Registration and Records. This website has all the types of forms that you would need, not just for changing your major or adding a minor, but also there's petition forms, there's catalog change forms, there's a bunch of different forms that would be good to be aware of. So when you go to the website, you're going to select the forms at the top. If you want to add a major or minor, the form is electronic. So you would just go here under the undergraduate change of academic objective, you would select your change your major minor form, and it's going to just have you log in. And then you're going to fill out the form. This will then get sent to the major department to be signed off on. So it's a really simple process. So don't let any forms prevent you from selecting something that you would be interested in pursuing while you're here. And as you can see, there's other examples of forms on there for you to select from. If you ever have questions about these types of forms and whether you should be using them or not, reach out to your Success Center for support. All right, so many of you are likely coming in with an associate degree for transfer. It gave you great benefits while you were applying to CSUF, but so sorry. It gave you benefits when you're applying to CSUF, such as an automatic degree transfer to a CSU upon acceptance. It also gave you a benefit with your GPA, so it gave you a 0.1 improvement on your GPA. It also helps you see which colleges had related degree programs that you would be interested in pursuing. But now that you're here and you're accepted, the AAT, the benefits include that we will make sure you graduate within 60 units as long as you complete your major and required coursework. So some of you might add a major or minor, which would then change your AAT. So keep in mind that if you change your AAT, or if you change your major or minor, your AAT does get canceled. So sorry. Connie, may I turn it over to you for just a minute? I'm back.
Of course.
So sorry.
Yeah, no worries. So then we'll maybe skip forward a bit to the campus resources and involvement opportunities. So on the next slide, we're going to do another poll. So I'm going to launch that poll right now. So you should be seeing the poll. So we want to know, do you want to pursue graduate school? So graduate school is like a master's program or a doctoral program. So yes, no, maybe so. All right. Oh, you all are fast. See those numbers moving really quickly. Okay, we're almost at 100. Oh, interesting. This is good stuff. All right, so I'm going to give a couple more seconds for this poll. All right. So you should be seeing the results. Oh, actually, we share results. So most common responses, yes. So many of you are interested in pursuing a master's program or a doctoral program, but a lot of you are maybe. So 36% is next, and then a smaller percentage, 11% is no. The reason why we wanted to ask this is that given that many of you want to graduate Cal State Fullerton in 2 years, and then you also, many of you, majority of you, 52%, also want to pursue a master or doctoral degree, that really means that over the next year and some, you're going to start prepping for graduate school. So it's like, oh, you just got to Cal State Fullerton and you want to make the best of it, but you're already having to prepare for the next step, right? So you often look into graduate school like, you know, typically about a year in advance, some do more. And so trying to see what graduate program you may want to pursue, especially if you're going straight from Cal State Fullerton to that master or doctoral program. So we want to make sure that you're on the right path, that you're getting connected at the university, that you feel supported, and that you're getting involved and connected. Well, also, if you're thinking about graduate school, we want to be able to connect you to those resources as well. So hopefully that's helpful and to give context for you all. So I'm going to stop sharing these results. So hopefully that goes away. And then let's move on to the next screen. All right, so I really like this visual. It is a little busy, I will admit, but it's a really helpful. This is like an aerial shot of the university. I know many of you have not stepped foot on campus, and that's completely okay. That's why I kind of like this map, so I can virtually walk you through campus. So I'm going to start on the left side. So on the left side, you see our Titan Student Union, often known as TSU. So we use lots of acronyms at the university. So if you hear TSU, that means the Titan Student Union. In the Titan Student Union, we have the home and hub of our student organizations, so Student Life and Leadership, ASI, Associate Students Incorporated. But the beauty about the Titan Student Union is that it also is a lounge area. There's a quiet space. Students, when we're able to go back safely, they can take naps in there. There's a bowling alley, there's pool tables, there's virtual gaming. It's just kind of a really nice space made for students, space to have fun, relax, and also get connected to the Titan community. In the middle of campus and really central to campus is our library. It's called the Public Library. And there's two wings to it. So there's the north side and then the south side. On the north side, we have University Learning Center. And at our university, that's really for tutoring. So if you're looking for tutoring, or if you feel like, oh, I'm taking a class and maybe I want, instead of the B that I feel like I might get, I want to get that A. Or if I'm thinking I might get a C, I want to get a B or an A. So whatever that is, we want you to utilize our University Learning Center. And then in addition to that, we have the Writing Center on the north side of the library. So I was in a few sessions earlier, students were like, there's a lot of writing once you transfer to a four-year university. And so writing, if writing is not your strongest suit, no need to worry. We have resources at the university that can help you. And so the Writing Center is a great place to get that support. So they help students, all undergrad students, even graduate students, with any writing support that they need. But again, it's just planning in advance and scheduling those appointments. On the Public Library south side, on the south side, is the Diversity Initiatives Resource Center. So the Diversity Initiatives Resource Center is made up of 5 resource centers. So the African American Resource Center, the Asian Pacific American Resource Center, our Titan Dreamers Resource Center, our LGBT Queer Resource Center, and our Latinx Community Resource Center. And so all of these spaces are part of the Diversity Initiatives Resource Center, so affinity spaces. And so we definitely want you to feel connected if you want to get connected based on the different identities you hold or the intersectionalities of identities. So again, we're pretty much virtual for spring. And so they're still hosting workshops and sessions and chats and conversations and, you know, different activities for students during this virtual time. And then when we're back in person, you'll be able to visit their physical space, which is like lounges and sofas and like comfy spaces. So that's the library. And then a little bit lower on our campus is Tuffy's Basic Needs Services. So Tuffy's Basic Needs Services is here to help you with food, housing, or financial insecurities. So we know there's a lot happening right now. Finances are hard. Many people are losing jobs. And so we want you to know that the university could definitely help. So we have temporary housing available through the university. We have food resources we can connect you to. There's an emergency grant that students can apply to. There's hygiene products you can still get from campus. So again, if life's really tough right now and you're struggling with those basic needs, please know that Cal State Fullerton has a Tuffy's Basic Needs Services Center. And it's called Tuffy because that's our mascot's name. So it's named after our mascot. But again, we want to be able to support your basic needs. On the north side, on the right north side, you'll see counseling and psychological services, also known as CAPS. So if you hear CAPS, that means counseling and psychological services. So again, during this time, we know a lot of people are struggling with their mental health. They may be feeling depression or anxiety for the first time, or having a panic attack for the first time. And people are like, where is this coming from? You know, there's just so much happening. And so again, part of you being a student is that you pay fees for different offices and services. And one of those services is this counseling and psychological services office. So you can go get free counseling if you're in distress or if you're in crisis. We got you covered. And if you call the number, so Shanice will be adding these links in a bit, but if you call their number, you could literally call their number anytime of the day, Monday through Friday, weekends, holidays. If the campus is open, if the campus is closed, you can call them. So I'm going to put that really quick into our chat. So this is our CAPS number. And so a human being will answer the call, which is really nice, especially when you're feeling like in distress or in crisis. A little further down on the right middle is the Center for Careers in Teaching. So many of our HSS majors are interested in becoming teachers. And so we want you to know that there's a center dedicated for people who want to become teachers. There's certain classes they may recommend. They have advisors, they have support groups. So they're really, really helpful. So if you're interested or think that you might want to become a teacher in the future, definitely want to connect with that office. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have the Student Success Center, and we have 2, Student Success Center North and Student Success Center South. So let's move on to the next slide. And as I mentioned earlier, I wanted to loop back to scholarships. So in HSS and through ASI, we have scholarships. And again, we do not want finances to be a barrier to your success. And what better way to really finance your college education than through scholarships. So on the left side, you're going to see a flyer for our HSS scholarships. So I want you all to write down that URL that you see on that hot pink flyer. So towards the middle bottom, it says hss.fullerton.edu/scholarships. And so Shanice added those links into the chat. So again, copy and paste those links and put them on a Word document or somewhere that you won't lose. And so again, we want you to apply for scholarships. You came in perfect timing. So scholarships just went live in January, just like a week or two ago. And so we want you to apply, visit that website. It's going to give you a list of all the majors in HSS, and you just click your major and you see what scholarships are in your major. And then there's also a button that says scholarships open to all HSS majors. So click that one too, because it's open to all HSS majors to maximize your scholarship opportunity within the college. So last year we gave over $70,000, not to the university, but going back to the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. On the right side, you'll see a screenshot of ASI scholarships. So ASI scholarships are through the Associate Students Incorporated. So again, acronym again, and that's all through student fees. So part of your student fees goes towards scholarships. There's a book scholarship, there's scholarships for undocumented folks, there's scholarships for parents, there's scholarships for lots of different communities of students. And so you definitely want to also check out the ASI scholarship website to see what scholarships you may qualify for. So again, here are just a few options to help you with your tuition, and most deadlines are going to be around mid-spring semester. So ours are due typically around March 2nd, and you're notified by the end of the spring semester, and the scholarships will be applied to your fall tuition. So you're applying to scholarships now, so you get the money for fall. So hopefully that helps. And so we'll go to the next slide. I also want to highlight some getting involved opportunities, especially during this virtual time. I know a lot of people wanted to find that sense of community, and you absolutely can. So in HSS, we have over 20 clubs. So all of those 23 majors that we have in our college, there's a club connected to them. And so if you wanted, in my opinion, the easiest way to get involved is to get involved in a club related to your major, because there's other students with that same major. You're going to have a faculty advisor from that major. All the events and speakers and all of that stuff are going to be related to your profession. So in my opinion, that's the easiest way to feel involved, connected to the university, and to really start building those friendships, because we want you to build those friendships. We also have professional conference travel funds. So right now we're not funding, there's no conference in person because we're in the pandemic, but there's virtual conferences that are still being held. And so those cost money still. And so you can request funds from our interclub council to have those fees for the virtual conference covered. And then especially those who are interested in pursuing that master's or doctoral program, you're probably going to need some research or publishing or presenting opportunities on like your CV or your resume. So in our college, we have conferences, we have symposiums, some majors even publish their own like paper and their own books. And so again, that's another opportunity for you. The next is Discover Fest and Student Life Connection. So Discover Fest is held every second week of every semester. And so what that is you're exploring all the clubs and orgs, the Greek life, community service opportunities. And so we're doing it virtual this year. We're still having it because there's lots of clubs, over 300 clubs. And the Student Life Connection in that link that Shanice just put right now, it's really cool. You can get a free swag bag. So now that you're new at the university, I highly encourage you to click the link on the Student Life Connection, and you pretty much complete like a survey of things you're interested in, and then their office will provide recommendations of different clubs or opportunities at the university that match your interests. And sorority and fraternity life is still active. Community service is still active, again, all virtually. I discussed the Diversity Initiative Resource Center. So if you're looking for affinity groups, definitely connect with them. And on-campus employment. So many students are employed at the university, and that is another way to feel like you belong at the university. Other peers may be employed in that office. You'll get connected with faculty and potentially staff. So again, visit the Career Center for Titan Connections to hopefully see if there's any job opportunities available for you at the university. So the next slide. Some virtual support. So we have an online learning specialist. Whitney Youngren is going to host the session this afternoon. So if you haven't signed up, visit it. We have a virtual front desk through our Student Success Center. Everything we're doing is via Zoom. So we have Zoom meetings, Zoom workshops, but we also communicate via email and phone. A few things I want to highlight. One is device requests. So sometimes our students don't have a proper laptop or a camera or a headset that's going to help them be successful in the classroom. So the Dean of Students office has this form where you could submit a request for a laptop, a headset, a camera. I think they have flip phones if you need a flip phone. So again, really helpful. Wi-Fi, hotspots. Again, we want you to have the technology to be successful at the university. The next thing I wanted to highlight is we have free Zoom. You have free Zoom just by being a CSUF student. So if you happen to have a personal Zoom account, or if you're just going to Zoom but not logging in with your CSUF information, it's going to tap out at a certain amount of time. And so what you want to do is log on through CSUF, through your portal, make sure you're logged on through CSUF information, and that gives you full access to Zoom. And so we want to make sure you're logging in according to our CSUF Zoom account. So if you haven't done it, haven't checked it out, again, Shanice is dropping all those links in the chat. So copy and paste them all. And then we also have free IT software and resources. So if you need Adobe Acrobat, or if you need a really specific software for your class, visit that IT website to get the software that you need. Again, we want to make sure you're all set up and all good to go by the time spring semester begins. So next slide. And that's pretty much it. We want you, again, to feel connected, to feel supported, to present, to do really great things and feel that sense of community, even though we are in this virtual time. So I'm going to pass it back to Assistant Dean Swanson, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. I am back. Again, I apologize for that. When you have a sleeping 5-month-old who decides to wake up in the middle of your presentation, it makes for a really entertaining experience, right? The challenges of our pandemic, but thank you for your patience. I apologize. I did want to go back to the ADT very quickly because I do have students who get concerned when they've added an ADT or they've transferred in through the ADT and then they add in a major or a minor here because then they get this letter. So let me find that letter. This letter comes to you if you add a major or minor while you're here. And this is just telling you that your ADT has been canceled. This is not an issue for students within our college. And so if you stay within our college, it just means that we can no longer guarantee that you're going to graduate within a 60 unit time frame because you've added now requirements to your degree program. We do not rescind your offer to join us at CSUF. We don't cancel you as a matriculated student. It really just is saying you may have extra requirements to complete. And so we can't say you will graduate within 60 units anymore. If you change your major to something outside of our college, so maybe business or one of the STEM majors, you may have to complete additional lower division general education coursework. Okay, so keep that in mind. When you add a major, maybe you want to change it or add a double major. If you add a minor, anything that will change your curriculum will cancel your ADT. But again, if you're in HSS, you keep your HSS major, that will not impact you, okay? Just means that we can't officially guarantee the 60 unit graduation. So now I want to talk about important deadlines. As with the jargon here at Fullerton being a little bit different, our withdrawal deadlines are quite different from many community colleges as well. So our first day of classes is coming up quickly. Technically, it's January 23rd, which is a Saturday. So if you don't have a Saturday class, the first Monday of the week for you is January 25th, okay? So come to classes for that first week through your virtual format. If you plan to drop a class and you don't want a W for it, you don't want to appear on your transcript, February 8th is the deadline to do that. You will still be able to drop through your Titan portal, and you must do it by February 8th, because after that date, you now need to submit a request to withdraw for a serious and compelling reason. and you will receive a W or a withdrawal on your transcript. Okay, so this is an online form. Again, it's in the registration and records website that I showed you earlier under the forms tab. You do have to have documentation for your serious and compelling reason. So really think carefully by February 8th if you feel like maybe you've enrolled in one too many courses, or you realize something that you enrolled in is not quite what you anticipated it was going to be, drop that class before that deadline. May 7th is the deadline to withdraw from or to submit a withdrawal from a course due to a medical reason. Again, you will need to provide documentation. These are online forms. The documentation will go to only those individuals who truly need to see your information. So if you are doing a medical withdrawal, it goes to a committee of individuals who understand the sensitivity of medical documentation. So don't feel hesitant to submit these forms because you don't want people to, you're worried that this is going to get around, your professors are going to know, whatever it may be. That's not the case. They won't know your medical issues. They just know that you are being withdrawn from your course. For any other important deadlines and dates, you want to reference your registration guide. So this is updated every semester, and it'll have on the second page, it shows you all the dates for the semester. As you're getting closer to becoming seniors and applying for graduation, you will be able to look into the registration guide and see what the deadline is for applying for graduation for the term that you want to graduate. So it's good to reference this. And I know Shanisha's putting the link for that onto the chat for you. All right, so at this time, we wanted to provide our contact information. Should you have any questions following our presentation and you want to follow up with us, feel free to do so. We do technically finish at 2:45, so you have about 1 minute left with us. We will hang around, so at this point, we are happy to answer questions. You can do it in the Q&A. You can raise your hand. I'm going to stop sharing my screen to make it a little easier. There we go. So feel free to ask your questions. Okay, good question about double majoring or minoring in a different college. Yes, you absolutely can double major or minor in a different college. CSUF has over 70 different majors on campus, and I think well over 100 minors. You do not have to have it within HSS. So a lot of our students choose things outside of our major. Example being maybe you want to work with children and you want to do it, you're a psych major and you want to work with children. Maybe considering child and adolescent studies as a minor, and that is in the College of HHD. So you can choose how to develop your plan however it fits best for you. You can add a minor at any time. Usually you do have to have, only certain minors are restricted. So I encourage you to take classes within the minor, the intro class, to ensure that you like the content before you add the minor. All right. Good question. If you withdraw from a class, how does it affect financial aid? Do you have to pay the money back? There's a lot of different factors with financial aid and withdrawing. So my strongest recommendation is if you ever have a financial aid question, go directly to the experts in financial aid. I believe we may have provided that link. If not, we will provide that link in the chat. They have different ways to get in touch with them, email, phone. They also have where you can set up appointments with them to meet with one of the counselors. Because it really varies on your situation, whether money needs to get paid back or not, when you drop in the semester, how many units you're dropping. So please refer to the experts. That's why they're there.
With that, I know sometimes students will have really specific questions and sometimes hard to articulate a financial aid question like over email. Sometimes that's just like call their office. So I just added their link to the chat. So if you want to call their office, feel free to do so. Sometimes there is a wait, but it's worth the wait if you could just have a peace of mind to get your question answered.
All right, teaching credential question. If I want to get a teaching credential, do I have to have a minor or double major in education? No, you do not. We have a great center called the Center for Careers in Teaching. Dr. Marina Yamashiro talked about it, and they will guide you on the prerequisites to get into a credential program. So you do not need to be receiving your education in an educational-based major. You can be any type of major as long as you complete these prerequisites for the program.
I'm going to answer the question in the chat. Do scholarships affect financial aid? They can. So every student has a maximum amount of aid they can get. But for the most part, I haven't seen that it impacts them, but it is a possibility. In some cases it does. So again, connecting back to financial aid and making sure that it's not going to impact your aid. But in most cases, I have not seen that, but in very small, rare cases, it can. It's always good to double check.
All right, so I see a few more academic ones. Question about dropping and the deadlines. So we do have a limit on how many units you can withdraw from with an official W, and that's 18. So you're allowed to have 18 units worth of withdrawals on your records. So if you withdraw before that February 8th deadline, you can withdraw from as many classes as you need to. If you are withdrawing for a medical reason, that is also unlimited. So if you need to withdraw 2 semesters in a row because it's a persistent medical issue or a brand new one, and it's going to go past the 18 units, that's okay. And this might be different from the community college. This also starts fresh. I want to make sure I emphasize that as well. Even if you have withdrawals from your community college, that does not impact your 18 unit total here. Okay, so some classes don't have a start date yet. Your classes may be one of 2 ways. So they're either going to be synchronous or asynchronous. So when you're looking at your class schedule, under the days and times, if it has a day and time listed, that will be attending class. So you'll log into probably your Canvas and you'll be participating in your class that way. If there is no day and time listed there and it's TBA, that means that it's an asynchronous course. And so you will be logging into your Canvas course at times that are ideal for you during the week. So your professor is going to require certain things of you during the week to complete, but it is on your own time. So I recommend logging in probably on Monday the 25th to get that information for your class if you don't have a designated time on your schedule. Yes, virtual classes will be accessed through Canvas. Great question about the ADT being canceled. Once it is canceled, even if you revert back to where you were previously, so let's say you added a minor and then later decided to drop the minor and you were just back to that original ADT major you had, your ADT will not be reinstated. Again, that's really not too big of an issue within our college because it all comes down to units towards graduation. So the ADT is just saying while you're here, you only need 60 units to complete within your major and your GEs to graduate. And that's the only difference that happens between our colleges. If you change to a different major outside of our college, you may have other additional requirements added if your ADT is canceled. Question about a minor. How many units do you need if you add a minor? Each minor varies. So we have minors that are as low as 12 units, and that's our language minors. So if you are proficient in a language, or there are modern languages and literature minors, let me be more specific. So Spanish, French, etc. If you're proficient in the language, you would just need to complete the upper division coursework, which is 12 units. But if you're not, that's totally fine. You would just have lower division coursework to complete. And that is an example of our lowest unit minor, but we do have minors that go up into the mid 20 unit range. So it really just depends on the minor that you're adding, how many units you would be adding to your educational path. Waitlist, that's a great question. Waitlists vary when it comes to your spot on it. So if you are number 1 through maybe number 3, you probably have a pretty good chance of getting in. Waitlists are automatic. So when a student drops the class, that evening, the system resets and whoever's number 1 on the waitlist will be added to the class. And that is if they have units available to add. Remember, you have at 18 and there's no time conflicts in your schedule. So start attending that class during that first week. If you're in the Canvas course, faster to get access, because if you are second on, maybe it's only a pretty good chance of getting admitted. Another great question about the ADT getting canceled. This does not cancel your AA from the community college. That is a degree you have earned. We will never take that away from you. So congratulations on that. Yeah. Add that minor, add that double major, change that major. It's totally do so. Another good question. You have a lot of those. I'm glad that we're addressing these today. Some community colleges are sending the ADT information on the transcript later. Maybe you've earned it this past fall semester and then getting the confirmations running late. We do have a very first deadline to receive that. If we receive this after the fact and it's past the deadline, so we cancel your ADT on our end, again, it doesn't change anything for you. We don't rescind your admission here as long as all your other requirements were met. You've got the golden 4, you met the GPA, you've got the units. So there's nothing that you really need to worry about if your ADT gets canceled. Okay, you're still with us. You're still CSUF student.
Just another reminder, the next session does begin at 3. So we want to make sure that you have enough time to get over there and log into the Zoom. So if you don't have any further questions, I know one of those questions came our way, like, are you good to go? Yep, you're free. Good to go. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope that information was really helpful. And we'll try to answer any last questions before 3 o'clock.
Yes, absolutely. Another quick minor question. The minor will fit into your current unit load. So let's say when you finish your GE and your major, you have 90 units completed, but you still need 30 more units to graduate at the 120. The minor will fit into that. It's not in addition to 120 units, okay? Ideally, when you, the question is, when should I know if I'm short on units? Go do the math right now. You know you need 120 units to graduate. How many GE units do you have remaining? How many have you earned overall? How many major units do you have left? Combine that all to see where that gets you. Most of the time, it's not going to get you to more than 100, maybe 112 if you're lucky. So you at least will have 2 to 3 extra classes you need. So go do that math, see how many more units you need, and then see if the minor that you're interested in is a good fit for that. You can go over 120 units. You're not limited to that. So you're definitely able to add a minor, even if that would put you to 124 units or whatever.